be? We're back. Already they're up and about. It's NBL Overtime, wherever you might be around the nation. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. And as it sometimes does work this way, the round isn't even over. We'll get to that game very shortly. But I am back. You miss me?
I miss you.
How you doing, big fella?
Man, I was just enjoying your stories, your FaceTimes. You have went to two of the world's biggest events.
Yeah.
And I was inspired. You know, some people be like, man, I'm jealous of your trip. I was actually excited and inspired by your trip.
Good. That's what I live to give and inspire. We're going to get into all that and plenty more. Now, Liam, Santa Maria, big shout out to the Santa Maria household, currently in a 7-day ISO, but I'm not quite sure I believe it. All I know is he continued to disrespect the Jack Jumpers. The Tasmanians came for him, and rightfully so. We haven't seen him since. Pete Hawley, the man who is having an outstanding season at broadcast booth, amongst other things. Hello, big fella.
Good to be here. Super sub activated once again. There's a lot to talk about, and he might have been inspired. I hated you for your trip, so there's the opposite side of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can go back at any point.
Good news is you didn't like me before I went away, and it still stays the same right now. But a lot has changed in a couple of weeks, and for you right now, Sydney Kings fans, you'd be happy because I know, Homicide, you've been losing your mind. You called it. Jaylen Adams again hits the game winner on the weekend with this Sydney Kings team right now, balling. Another hottest team in the league. Pete Hawley, talk to me.
Well, they are. They're just so deep. They're talented. That we know the superstars that they have. You look at the start of the season with the roster that was put on paper. Jaylen Adams was injured, and we didn't see a whole lot of him in pre-season. Took a while just to get healthy and then just find his feet. Xavier Cooks is an absolute superstar. I keep saying it. Enjoy him while he's here. He's on to bigger and better things in his future. Jarrell Martin's still there. Ian Clark's working his way into it. But Jaylen Adams is a flat-out baller. And credit to the Adelaide 36ers. They were good in this game. They came ready to play. And how's this? Xavier Cooks. He just missed 4 free throws before this. Who cares? I'll take it to the 3. Nice little rainmaker on the halftime siren. And the Sydney Kings are going to cause a lot of issues for other teams as we get into the business end of the season.
Jaylen Adams, talk to me.
Look, this guy is just a flat-out stud. You know what I mean? Like, he's a gun. The way he goes about it, he dissected this pick and roll all game. And that man right there, he is a lock for the Boomers. The way he goes about, he's the engine as far as their energy, he's the guy. But he was just doing whatever he wanted to do to the Adelaide defense. They had some tough defenders on him, but the way they guarded him pick and roll, they were going under, they were switching it. There was nothing that they were able to do to stop this man. And you know what? Because of that, everybody else got easy looks. And
here it is.
Here's the game winner. And Cam Bairstow did a real good job the last 3 times on him, man. He defended him as best as he possibly could. But, you know, like I said, man, warm that plane up, we out of here. That guy right there, the way the schedule is set up, it's favorable for him to potentially lock home court advantage in. They play 2 teams in the top 4 to finish out NBL 22. Right now, the fate is in their hands. Look at the schedule. They play Cairns twice.
Win.
They play Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. They play Perth.
Good games.
Everything outside of that, 36ers 2 more times, New Zealand, Jack Jumpers, which is definitely not an easy beat, and the Hawks. This team can literally finish top 2.
Man, you don't have to sell it
lock
to me,
in home court advantage.
I tipped them to win the championship.
Yo, but more important, Jaylen Adams, you got 11 games. Let me get this right. You got 11 games to seal your fate and change your life. This is a league, if you are the creme de la creme, it is proven. We've seen countless case studies. You can continue to play the way you're playing and get to the top two spots, get to the finals. You're out of here. Good luck. It's all on you. Your fate is in your hands. This is a player's dream. You got a coach that backing you. You got a team that believe in you and is following your lead. You get in the time and you have an opportunity to do your thing. And the schedule favors you. Good luck.
Who's the MVP?
Right now.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still going with Joe Luala-Chu. I'm still with Joe Luala-Chu Jr. without doubt. Again, you know, from his numbers last year and the void that he needed to fill, this team, you wouldn't even think Jock Landale was here.
Before I let you loose, Halls, 6 weeks ago, credit where credit's due, we had this conversation about who the best centre in the league was, or the All-NBL first team. And Liam and I weren't sold just yet that JLA was, in fact, that guy. And Liam got a technicality because the way the rules are. There doesn't have to be a centre in the All-NBL first team. But JLA right now, I don't think he's the most valuable player on their team as such. I think still Daly and CG are their two main guys. But the best player and the best team right now is the big man. He is. I'm with you. Who you got?
I think if the season stopped right now, Jaylen Adams wins the MVP. Because besides, you look
what a story.
What a story.
It's really the only player award that it comes down to the team record as well. So you talk, Jaylen Adams is on his way. He missed 5 games, which wasn't a whole lot, but then took a while to realise I'm the man on this team. If he keeps playing at this level, he's going to be right in that top 2 conversation. Bryce Cotton, on the other hand, is still doing Bryce Cotton things. We know he's slow against the Phoenix, but they lost 4 out of 5 games on a stretch. That counts. That matters when you talk about an MVP race. It really does. The team, every other award, most improved, defensive player of the year, best 6th man, they can be solely about your individual stats. Doesn't matter where you are on the ladder. MVP, it does matter.
Okay, now, we'll get to that in a minute because I want to just bring up Bryce Cotton and the MVP and the Perth Wildcats, but of course, not just the Perth Wildcats and the basketball community in WA, but the entire basketball community around the country, and the NBL lost a great man in the last week or so with the passing of Jack Bendat. And look, I think it was 2005, the Wildcats needed someone to come in. He came on in and he did a wonderful thing, not just for the Wildcats, as I said, but also the Lynx and WNBL and Western Australia and the basketball community in the entire league. So, as we just see there, the great shout out to Jack, everything he did on the jerseys over the weekend. A lot of the clubs wore the black armbands and a sign of respect for the great man. So the family and friends of Jack, we are thinking of you, and we thank Jack and all the family who did so much for this great league, of which we currently enjoy day in, day out.
No, well said. I think everybody says that the Wildcats, Perth, wouldn't be where they are now if it wasn't for that great man. Not a bad word said about him ever. Never got the chance to actually meet him when played a few times over there, but from all reports, just an outstanding human being, and that's why the Perth are the most successful sporting organisation in Australia.
All right. They're 9-6. They went to Tassie last night and they scrapped it out. They were really good. I just want to give a shout out before we get to Perth. We haven't got too much Jack Jumper stuff today. Last night's the perfect example as to why everyone continues to flock to My State Bank Arena to watch that team play, because they were outclassed. They looked dead and buried a couple of times, and their guts determination without Will Magnay gave them a sniff late in the game. So to you, JJs, I'll give you a shout out. But let's go to Perth. They're 9-6. They're about to go back to Perth with the border opening. We speak of Bryce Cotton. I think, he's probably third in the MVP race, but this 9-game stretch to end the year is going to be huge for the Wildcats to finish top 2, and also Bryce Cotton to become the most dominant player in the NBL. I want to start with you, Hawley. Talk to me. Are you worried about them?
I have concerns for sure.
What is
for
it?
The Wildcats.
What are they?
I mean, the main one is the centre position. We've got to keep talking about it. I think Hodgie was great against the Jack Jumpers. I still love what Majuk brings. But we're talking about the top-tier teams in the league over a 5-game series. You mentioned Joe Luala-Chul. Do they have someone who can go toe-to-toe with Joe Luala-Chul for a 5-game series? Not sure if they do. Jarrell Martin for the Sydney Kings. He's a smaller big, but likes to play a certain style of play. Can they have someone to match him? Jochi from the Phoenix. So that's a big question mark I have. You're right, the home games is only going to help them. Bryce Cotton, Phoenix were outstanding on him for the first half. Then he had 15 points. He's going to have quite a half, but he's going to explode at times. He's just an absolute superstar. And you're right, 9 games at home, he can still well and truly obviously win the MVP race. A couple of concerns, but they're obviously going to make finals. They've done it 35 years in a row, 36 maybe. They're a lock for that, but they got to fix a couple of things still.
Well, you and I think they're a lock still.
They're a lock.
Oh, they are now.
They're a lock for top 4, without doubt.
So pre-season you were like, they're not going to make top 4. Now they've had a little bit of inconsistent form, and you're calling them a lock.
Yeah, they're a lot.
Okay, good.
I mean, the
I'm glad
schedule favors them as well. They have 9 home now. We know out west. Come on, they haven't been home. These are road warriors. They've been
paying
battling.
you for the Red Army?
No, nobody is just I come to the conclusion that they're gonna lock in.
The schedule doesn't. I get the schedule favours them going home, but the fact is that they've been on the. So they look banged up to me. They look like they're on the road. That is tired, not disinterested, but like, you know what, we got to pack our suitcase again. We got to play in an arena that isn't our own. So they looked a little banged up Saturday night and gave themselves a chance to beat one of the best teams in the league and last night. So I'm glad you've come around on the side.
It was just really, like I said, whenever you have a coach, a great coach that leaves an organization, right? A couple of key players, Steindl goes, Wani that's playing well in Sydney. So players get older. New import comes in. You don't know if it's just going to work. You know what I mean? Look at them now. It isn't like they're just head and shoulders the best. They're third best right now. So that's why I had these questions early to see what type of offense would Coach implement as he came in. He doesn't have a relationship with Bryce Carter. He's just meeting him for the first time. That doesn't mean he's automatically just going to do what's usually done. He's coming in with his own philosophy. So these were genuine questions that I had. Could two superstars coexist? We know that they can, but they're not going to win the championship, not with that team. But, I mean, they're going to give any team a run for their money. With those 9 home games, you know, it's hard out west to get wins. It's hard to beat that team anywhere. But definitely at home. We know the vibes out west, man.
I agree. The hardest thing to get in sport is momentum. Okay, it's very hard to garner it if you haven't got it. They're going to have the opportunity to get it, and the momentum will roll in if they gain it into the playoffs. So I'm not going to say they can't win the championship. I have them on the a level or two below between probably the top 3 right now that I've got. But what I will say about this Perth Wildcats team, and I don't want to go too deep into Michael Frazier because I've got him in yes or no, and I don't want to waste the question, but that question will continue to remain because it's kind of jam-packed. Luke Travers is playing his best basketball as he continues to develop, and he's playing on a dodgy ankle, I believe. Todd Blanchfield's been inconsistent due to injury. His year last year was brilliant. It was better than what Tariq White had 2 years ago, and it filled that void. There's a logjam there. So it's not just the fact that Michael Frazier hasn't been able to find his best form yet. It's the fact that you've got 3 guys there. Travers playing really well. Blanchfield, we know. And you talk about that centre position, it will be an ongoing conversation. I'm not saying there'll be a change. There's got to be an ongoing conversation.
And there's going to be, for exactly. And I think he's a terrific player. I've followed him since college around, knows what he can do. He's a great player, but you're right. The question is the fit. And just quickly here, I want to go through.
Hit me.
We talk about the fit. So in the point guard spot, shooting guard, and the small forward, so 3 guard wings. There's 120 minutes to play there. So this is simply to break it down.
Oh, someone's got their calculator
What's
out.
Mitch Norton going to be playing a game? 30. Be conservative, say 30 minutes, right? So that leaves 90 minutes left to play. Bryce Cotton's playing how many?
35. Okay.
Probably be conservative.
Give you 35, okay.
Be conservative with that. So that leaves 55 minutes. Kevin White's going to play 5 minutes conservatively off the bench. 50 minutes left to play in the game. Todd Blanchfield, 25 minutes.
Yep.
There's Luke Travers, healthy. Luke Travers, 25 minutes. That leaves 0 minutes in that spot for a guy who's an import for Michael Frazier to come in. It's super hard to come in with the pressure already on, trying to fight to get minutes, not to get the consistent minutes every single day to prove yourself in the league. That was always going to be hard. That question of the fit was always going to be there, and it's going to get louder and louder when you talk about that centre position.
And the thing is, too, as time goes on, I don't know how much these guys are practicing. Right? So we're seeing more and more NBL games, and this is what players want. They want to play, not practice. So is it more of a recovery, walk-through type of situation, which therefore may take a little bit away of being able to beat someone out for your spot? It is an interesting conversation, but after all is said and done, and they have found a little bit of a flat spot in the last month, Saturday night they went to Melbourne and played one of the best teams in the league in South East Melbourne, and it took until the last 40 seconds to get beat. Great game. I said this at the start of the year. Fans in Melbourne of basketball, get to this arena and watch South East Melbourne Phoenix. They're a really good team. Crowd was a tad smallish on Saturday night. Let's not stuff around. Get down there because they're fun to watch. And this game was fun to watch. Homicide, I know you were courtside.
Yeah, it really was a really good game. To beat, here's the keys to beating Perth Wildcats. You got to take care of the ball. You have to rebound the ball. And you have to hit from the perimeter to loosen up that defense. And that's exactly what SEM Phoenix did. They shot the ball extremely well from the 3, right? And you have to do it by committee. And this man right here, when the game was on the line, he took it over coming off the bench. You can rely on Kyle Adnam against anybody. So when in doubt, you can get a ball to this man. He's going to make good shots. He's going to make tough shots, but he's crafty with it. He can shoot the 3. He's going to create for others. I trust Wild Kyle Adnam, man, and I love what he brings to that team. But it was a great performance.
All right, so you're deep in game 3, 4, or 5 of a grand final, semi-final series. Are you saying Kyle Adnam's their closer?
No, what I'm saying...
All right, who is?
I'll tell you right now what you do. They have a lot of weapons on their team, and different guys at different times get to rolling, right? But for me, you get a ball to Wolf Creek. He balled out. That was a hell of a matchup between he and Vic Law in that game, worth the price of admission in itself. I'm giving the ball to Wolf Creek in the post and let the defense dictate where the ball goes. Wolf Creek on the post, pretty much everybody in the clutch, they are going to double him because that's a bucket. Something great is going to happen out of when Mitch Creek has that ball in that mid-post area. And whoever's open from there, you just go from there. Whoever's grooving out of the guards, because a lot of times it's going to be Munford in the game or Kyle.
My biggest concern with the Phoenix is when it comes to the clutch is who's going to try and take over the game. Mitch Creek doesn't have to shoot the ball every time, but as you said, he's going to make the defense have to put eyes on him. He's a mismatch for the majority of the league. So at least put him in a place where either if it's set a screen, give him the short roll, just put the ball in his hands. But again, shout out Kyle Adam. Right now we talk about awards. He's best sixth man in the league. I think I've got him leading that right now. He's been consistent. He comes in, plays his role. And you're right, he's always reliable to be able to come in and knock down some shots, which is what they need.
NBL.com.au. What's that segment called? Are you right?
Awards Watch, one coming this week. Stay
Awards
tuned.
Watch. That makes sense. Hey, just on the Mitch Creek, 100%, right? So Golding for Melbourne United, Cotton for Perth Wildcats, probably Jaylen Adams for Sydney.
No, probably.
Well, yeah, you're right. And then you just put it in the best players' hands deep in a game. And you're right, doesn't have to shoot it, makes a decision. Next thing you know, they progress or they lose and get eliminated with their best player. And that's exactly what sport. I'm a simple man, but that's what sport should be. And I'm nervous about this.
Oh.
Because Liam Santamaria put out a power rankings a couple of weeks ago and he pissed the entire state of Tasmania off and he hasn't come back since. Where's he got him? Oh, he's got him at 5. There you go. He's got him at 6. Now, before I let you two dissect and have a little look at this, he has texted me and said if New Zealand were to beat Illawarra tonight, they will move past Adelaide. Of course, we'll get to that game in about 15 minutes' time. But New Zealand go past Adelaide if they are to beat Illawarra tonight. Pete Hawley, what do you make of the power rankings from Liam Santamaria?
Yeah, there's not too much different there. I'm pretty happy with those. The only one maybe, I mean, he's given Phoenix after the recent win against Perth, but that series is split because Perth handed it to the Phoenix just a couple of weeks before that on the home floor. And you spoke a little bit about how they've been on the road now. They look tired. Everything's trying to bank up and you're getting towards just getting home to see family. That's in the back of your mind too. No doubt about it. So I don't read too much into that game. So that one maybe could have stayed the way it is. I mean, they got a win in the end. But again, Phoenix are playing well. So I think he's pretty spot on there. And the one time he should probably be sitting here and reveling in that fact.
You like it?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it.
Are you cool with Adelaide right now?
Oh.
They won the pre-season. You said they'd make the 4. You jumped off pretty quickly, and unfortunately a zip and 2 weekend. An ongoing conversation about their import. Of course, no Isaac Humphries, which is bound to hurt any team because he's been so great. We've been able to see him in the last season and a half. Where do you sit on Adelaide right now? I know Matt Logue was suggesting Scotty Hobson was going to roll on in. I don't know where that is, but it hasn't happened yet. So as we sit here, they still need an import. Corey, tell me.
They do. One thing I can say is despite the loss to Sydney, Dusty Hannah, shout out to you. You had that was your best game of the year. Like, you really, really balled out. Todd Withers had a really good game as well. And I called those guys out saying we need more from them. And they showed up. It was just Jaylen Adams went, and that man right there is the best player on that team, Cam Bairstow. He's an awards watch as well. Dusty, very crafty with the ball. Withers, again, as I said, you know, he showed up. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's a good offensive player. He just needs more touches. And as you see, when they got him the balls, he performed. But this man right here, man, he was so clutch. He had a really good game. But it just wasn't enough. It's just inconsistent play by Adelaide. This was their best game that I saw them play in a while.
Yeah.
Again, it was just Jaylen Adams that just destroyed them. Defensively, they just had no answer for him.
Yeah, the frustrating thing with this is, Pete, that man who was great, right? You mentioned inconsistency, and I understand there's been some injury concerns, and, you know, obviously we're looking for a third import still. Well, not we, but they are. Like, the inconsistency, Dusty Hannahs has been inconsistent. Like, if this is the Dusty Hannahs that we all thought we were going to get when we watched that YouTube video and the dude hits 100 in a row, then all of a sudden we're talking about a different Adelaide team, because you're right, they take it up to the best team or one of the best teams in the league, and it takes a 3 on the buzzer to get beat. Dusty Hannahs is almost whatever he does, and where he sits is what Adelaide does.
Yeah, it's the import signing ones. I mean, I've heard a couple of whispers, and I'm not dropping anything here because Matt Lowe went with Scotty Hobson. I think every Adelaide fan was getting excited. So until a little bit more comes out of it, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
So John Casey dropped that it's someone who has played in the league before. Are you also hearing something like that?
Yes, and I don't know if it's necessarily, from what I'm hearing, is the right position that I think that they need.
Well, what position are you hearing they're going to fill?
Well, I'm hearing in the guard spot.
They're going to go into the guard
That's
spot.
what I'm hearing, and I could be completely off, but that's just a couple of whispers. That's why I won't drop any names yet. But I think their biggest issue, we saw it in the Sydney Kings game. Cam Bairstow's been great. Daniel Johnson's good on the offensive end. What big do you have to really obviously demand the ball every single time, but to be able to guard a ball screen success? Look at the top tier teams in the league. Jaylen Adams is going to be in the pick and roll a lot. Who can show, who can have a different side of mismatch? Cam Bairstow is great switching. Daniel Johnson, we know in the pick and roll, that's not going to be where he's at his best. So who do you really have as that big centre position to really just dominate on both sides of the floor? That's where I think they need a little bit of help. Because Isaac Humphries, again, I had them in the top 4 way early in the preseason because a healthy Isaac Humphries, I thought this is going to change. Mitch McCarron would be a little bit more open about the way he plays the game. So it definitely hurts.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved, which is also the best way, as you elves right around the country traditionally help Liam Santa Maria with Santa's watching. Now, I don't know how the hell this is going to go, all thanks to Amy, because Santa ain't here. Who's got it? Halls or Homicide?
Santa is watching this.
Is he?
Himself, he would be.
Okay, fire away.
Well, we saw this one. The Big Zim doesn't get doubled too often, and that's why he throws it 8 rows back into the crowd. So right here, this was pretty well highlighted.
Yeah.
Isaac White, have a look at this little mullet flick. That's what he's growing it out
That is glorious.
And he's
glorious.
Just practicing his stroke here. Yep, cash.
Yeah.
Cash. He's shooting well.
Hey, it's working.
Have a look at this one, though. To Jim McCall, just helping up Keanu Pinder. Floor wiper comes in, ankle's gone.
Get out the way.
Takes him out. McCall hits the deck on here. And this one was a classic. Just threw it straight off. Melbourne United back into Jim McCall and Scott Machado. Having a little smile on the bench. He enjoys that. He played about 48 minutes in that game. That's why he didn't stand it up in that one. And Cam Bairstow, this was hilarious, Corey. We saw this. I don't know what he's doing there. He's been in the league long enough to know you cannot call a timeout in mid-play. Have a look at the hustles there. Just reward me, ref. I'll change the rules for this one possession, please. And they'll finish it off. I'll tell you what. That's the sponsor there that he's drinking, but that man needs an H2O ASAP.
Nah, and that is why I mentioned this. Great job. I mentioned this. This is the type of great vibe and excitement I have at the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. I've pushed the Jack Jumpers. I've been lucky enough. You boys been to Tassie yet?
No, I'm still waiting to get on that
Get
plane.
down there. It's great. There's no better place to go right now in summer. We're enjoying it, and now the restrictions start to open up to get to this great basketball, and Jack Jumpers doing their thing. But that's what happens. You have a sip of Mountain Goat. What jersey did he have on there? I missed the number.
A Phoenix one?
No, it was a Phoenix jersey, but it was, I don't know what number it was. He's enjoying it. That's what happens.
Yeah, you got to get there. Those games are great. All the games. Every game in the NBL is great to go to.
Yeah, you know what else is great?
Oh.
JD Sports.
Oh.
Undisputed king of trainers, and they are launching. And we're going to get to that very shortly as we have a look at this. That's a very nice shoe. That's our JD Sports sneaker of the week.
Kunstano. And he went 0 for 3 to start, and then he knocked a few down. If you're going to wear shoes that bright, you're going to knock down some shots. So you did that.
You may not be aware of this, but he also got a free pair of sunglasses when he picked up those.
Yeah, I think we need them.
All right, here we go. This is what I'm excited about. They're launching the women's Air Jordan 1 Low UNC. As we get towards March Madness, these limited edition low tops are complete in the coveted Carolina blue, of course, having an outstanding season, in particular in the women's program, and they won't hang around long. So it's simple. They launch this Friday, the 4th of March, online only, via the JD AU app. Download the app today to make sure you do not miss out. The women's Air Jordan 1 Low UNC. And a big shout out to JD Sports. I was in Cleveland. It was -16. It was snowing, and my Air Jordan 1s weren't exactly handling it. So I just wandered in and said, guys, what do you got? And they gave me a nice Nike snow boot.
I thought he had some Timbs on, Corey. That's what it looked like from the social media. It just looked absolutely ridiculous.
All right. Talking about ridiculous. You know how yes or no works?
I do. I'll give you straight up. You won't get any answers.
Good. Has the reffing been great this year?
Who's this to?
You.
No.
Will Matthew Dellavedova be all NBL this year? First or second team, it doesn't matter.
No.
Will Rob Beveridge be coaching in the NBL next season?
Yes.
Will Michael Fraser play another game at RAC Arena this season?
Of course.
What's the segment called?
Yes.
They've got a long way to go to get to those home games.
Is Brisbane the most frustrating team in the NBL?
Oh, yes, times 1,000.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a split second. Now, I'm back. Anyone bring me a welcome back present? Yes or no? It's to either of you.
Yes.
Bang!
Check this out.
Hello.
From our great friends at The Salties.
The Salties!
Have hooked us up. Have a look at these. Don't these look good?
That's nice.
So we've got one for each of us, and we've even got one for Santa as well.
Beautifully done.
So
Thank you,
shout out the Salties.
Now, as you know, one of my yes or no questions was, is the Salties the best name in the country? And most certainly is. So thank you.
Looking out, Salty.
I'll be,
right there.
I'll be working out on that soon.
Bang.
All right. Can we just get back to Brisbane just quickly?
Please.
Because you and I were in agreement about 6 weeks ago about how frustrating they are. I love Nathan Sobey, and he's had excuses because of the injury. I love Lamar Patterson. Franks was great again on the weekend and up and down, wasn't as good in Cairns. They got Drimmick, they got Kadee, guys who have had outstanding NBL careers, and it frustrates me. Like when I watch Brisbane, I just get... Can someone explain this to me? Because they go to Melbourne on Saturday night and they play really well in Melbourne against United.
Yes, they do.
And it wouldn't shock me if they come out and beat Melbourne United and then next week lose to someone who's a lot lower ranked. I want to get a grasp on where this Brisbane team is because I think they're one of the most frustrating teams to watch in the last 5 years with the talent they've got.
You're not going to get a grasp for me because I'm scratching my head because I think it was 4.5 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks, we were saying this is a top 4 team.
Yeah.
Because you look at it, they have 3 superstars. Sobey is one of the best players in the competition. Lamar Patterson's been good. Robert Franks. When he's rolling, when he gets the ball, as Corey says, in the right spots, he's one of the best players in the competition. And their role players are veteran guys like Kadee, Drimmick, who have been around a while. So the inconsistencies would be so frustrating, I'm sure, for the players involved, the coaching staff, the fans. When they're up and about, they're such a good team to watch and they're so tough to beat, but they just haven't delivered consistently enough. And I don't know the answer of why.
Corey, can you help me?
I mean, lack of leadership. You don't have anybody on that team that's going to hold everybody accountable and say, you know what? This is the goal this year. I'm sticking by it, and I'm leading this. This ship is going to sink or swim under my direction. When things go bad, everybody, I know it. They just looking at the other person. Oh, you should be doing this, or you should be doing. Nathan Sobey's supposed to be that guy. He's supposed to grab that team by the horns. We are sinking or swimming based off what I'm saying and what I'm doing. I'm directing. I'm the captain of this ship. It's going my way, and I need you to do this, put this person in this position. He don't have that. That's the guy. That's the guy. They don't have that guy. He's not that guy. He's good. Yeah, he's good.
He's really good.
He tries.
It comes to it's too inconsistent. How can we sit here and say, all right, we got 3 superstars on this team.
I don't know.
And the record is that.
That's why I'm asking the question. That's why I'm asking.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
crazy,
when they were getting blown out early by the Taipans, and they had a stand-up timeout before James Duncan got there. Nathan Sobey gave him a huge spray. So I'm with you. I think it has to be Sobey. Again, he's grown in his level of maturity by not being too emotional at times. So there's the fine line of him trying to find that. But again, it's just frustrating for everybody to watch them.
Far be it for me. I'm no coach, but if you got a star player on minutes restriction, just let them start the game and just see what happens next. Hey, and that's not just in Brisbane. It's happened a couple of times. Yes. Hey, Indigenous round coming up. And, of course, for everything that stands for, it is great being able to involve and equality in not just in the NBL, but what it does socially. And we continue as a country to grow towards it. With the Indigenous jerseys, they've gone to a whole new level.
Yes, sir.
Again, and a big shout out to all the great designers who do this each and every year. We bow down to. We love what you're able to do, the creativity and the colours, and that is cool. Do you have a favourite one, Homicide?
Jack Jumpers, let's go.
Oh, I think I was with you.
Jack Jumpers, let's go. Send me one of those jerseys.
There it is. I knew there was a
you know it's coming.
Yes.
They're all great.
Send me one of those jerseys.
How good are the stories behind it? When you do buy one, make sure you check this. Every story is so unique and has such a special meaning. I actually think I might have to get one of those New Zealand ones. New Zealand always have the vibrant colours. I know we're getting out of summer, but I'll still rock that. NBL.com.au, you mentioned there's so many great stories associated with not just the people who design the jerseys and the reasons behind it, but also for how many of these great players we have in the league, really led by Nate Jolwide, to be fair, and it's continued to filter down with players who are getting opportunities at a young age, and of course led by Paddy Mills over in the NBA, having such a huge part of the Indigenous round here in the NBL. So can't wait to see the great jerseys out there and also immerse ourselves in everything the Indigenous round does, both on and off the court, not just in this particular round. All right, you mentioned New Zealand. They're moments away from taking on Illawarra. Who wins, guys? New Zealand are just... I want to give a shout out to New Zealand. They've had a rubbish 2 years, as we know, and they've got injuries decimated them. I wrote a big article for them for ESPN last week, and it was like a big feature length of every single thing they've had to go through up until halfway.
It was a great read.
And it's just one thing after another. It's like somebody just saw a black cat, went underneath a ladder, broke a mirror, something that has the bad luck, and it doesn't get better tonight. No Yanni Wetzel, who has been dominating against the Hawks. He's the one player besides Tom Abercrombie they just could not afford to lose. this could get a bit ugly.
Normally I would say to you, Pete, just make the articles a little shorter for my time
I know,
span.
me too.
But you had to fit everything that's gone wrong into an article. What do you got for me, anything? You got 10 seconds. You're done.
Glad you're back.
I'm glad I'm back.
Liam, give that a little man of your family.
For sure. Liam Jr. # NBL Overtime. Have a look at this. Shot put.
Peace.
See ya.